COVID hits, we lose 80% of our revenue fairly quickly. Government starts helping out a little bit, which kind of puts everyone on like a base salary to exist and not have to get fired and
That was kind of cool.
whatever. But pretty much the agency starts getting really, really scrappy. Just because we've got all this overhead from when things were amazing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, during this, me and Lockie bought a info product from somebody else.
Alex Becker's?
Alex Becker's info product called Iron.
I remember the day you called me, you go, oh, I got this crazy idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this dude's course on selling courses and test some courses. And I was outside and I said, sounds interesting.
Yeah. It was an expensive course.
It was like 10 grand, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. 10K US. It was even more.
Good investment, though.
But he was pretty much teaching how he sold info products really effectively. We followed his model, launched our info product on how to start an agency effectively, because it'd been great for us. And first month we did like 5K. Second month we did maybe like 150K. Third month we did 450K. And then the following month we rounded out. So the prior 3 months was $1 million. So
Fuck. Month 4 you did $1 million clear.
month 4 we'd cleared over $1 million in the business. It was eye-opening in a few different directions. I think the first one was I think I learned a lot about the fact that paying people to teach you stuff is very, very valuable. Like, you don't need to figure everything out for yourself. There's smart people who've already done it.
Do you mean from your perspective?
Yeah.
So this is good because I have people that ask me to this day, they're like, oh, if I want to do courses, what are your thoughts? And normally, let's be honest, like, we would normally talk shit on that. We would normally be like, oh, that's a dumb idea. But I think you've proven that, like, if you've got this idea, like, you really did kind of just grab someone else's info and execute it.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't really have to like scrap and scrap. It's just pure replication.
Yeah, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like,
Yeah.
whatever it is you're trying to do, someone who's already done it and they've already had to learn things the hard way. So, like, if you can buy somebody else's education on how to do the thing, that seems very impactful. Yeah. And the other thing is like, obviously I believe in it because our business is selling other people education, right? So, like, there were problems with the business, but like the fundamental stance that I have is that if you want to do something, the easiest way to figure out how to do it is to buy the person's time who's already done it and just learn from them. Yep. Model off someone else.
I agree.
So that was a big lesson. The second thing was margins. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's the first time in my life I've experienced cash flow like that.
When you say, well, it's got zero cogs, so it's all margins. I mean, you've got your ad spend, but the actual cost of goods is nothing.
Correct.
You're just selling air.
Correct.
Which I've done before.
Yes, the whole business
Shout out China.
The whole business is education. So you've got a fixed cost to produce that content. And then once that content exists, you've got virtually zero variable costs.
So your only cost really was ad spend.
Ad spend.
So correct me if I'm wrong. For anyone listening that may not be aware of how this works, you build a product, which is a course. You say this course costs $1,000. If you walked up and down Chapel Street, selling that course to 10 people, 50 people, 100 people, you'd make $10,000, $50,000 to $100,000 clear profit. But you can't do that. So you start advertising through paid ads, which was on YouTube initially.
Yep.
And you get a good bit of juice out of it with a bit of data and some really good ads. But then correct me if I'm wrong, it became this black box where it's like, as long as what you're putting in is less than what you're pulling out, it doesn't really matter.
Correct.
How did it, like, at that point, did it feel like you're running a hedge fund?
You have no idea how it felt. I was literally I was talking to Lockie about this morning because, like, we're actually looking at relaunching a better version of that business at the moment. Yeah. And there is no feeling I've experienced since that compares to waking up in the morning, opening up your phone, checking your notifications and seeing you've already made 20K.
Can I tell you something? I agree with that feeling. It's better than text.
It's the single greatest feeling in the world, man.
Thing in the world.
Like, we're in the middle of lockdown. Like, we weren't allowed to leave our house.
Yeah.
So we couldn't, like, travel or meet up and enjoy it, really. So we'd call each other in the morning. We're like every single morning we'd call each other and be like, I don't even know what to say.
Bro, that was the happiest I've ever heard you.
It was absurd. And, like, the business ended up going to absolute shit. We ended up making virtually $0 from it. And
is that because it was operating as a hedge fund almost?
Well, the problem with it was you're right. You would spend money on ads. It would go to a webinar, and if you spent less in ads than you made in sales, it was a good business, right? The problem was that at our peak, we're spending 20, 25 grand a day on ads.
Yep.
a day.
Yeah.
Right?
It's big money.
So when you have a bad week of sales, in that week we've spent, let's say, $120,000 in that week, and we've only done 80K in sales. It's like, shit, we lost 40 grand this week, right?
Yeah.
And that problem started to compound where it's like, okay, the webinar is no longer working. Okay. So the conversions, the ads were now costing more than the sales. So we have to stop running ads. Yeah.
Yep.
Just stopped converting as well. Because what happens is when you got a product that you're reaching an audience with, right? You always start off with like the top of your audience being the people who are like ready to buy. They're excited about the product. They're seeing like, shit, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then you've got the people you need to like twist their arm. They can be convinced, but they're not really looking to buy right now. And then once you've like saturated those two audiences, which you do when you're spending 20 grand a day on ads, you then start going to these people who are like not really that interested.